Oh gosh.
I'm not sneezing through the thing.
If you do you usually have a tissue or anything like?
I'll be okay.
You'll be alright?
I'm indoors all day, so just a little bit sneezy, but it's okay.
No worries.
Cool.
And then I'll get myself into here, cream it in here, without ruining the setup. My face will probably be a bit dark because of the backlight.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah. Here we are.
This is nice.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Nice plants here in the background. And an empty loft apartment, studio apartment. Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's your boy Lamaroc, broadcasting out of Fitzroy, here with the infamous Miaka.
Hi.
From House The Fields. Like a question.
Question, exclamation, yeah, a little bit of everything.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow, so you're leaving town soon?
I am in like 2 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah, it's really soon.
Why is that?
I got a job in Amsterdam.
What?
Yeah, so that's a primary reason. Kind of just happened out of the blue.
Yeah.
Sort of took it as a sign that I should just go for it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about working overseas?
Not really. You know, have fleeting moments of sort of considering it, but I know I felt like life in Australia was just what I'm used to and comfortable, and you know, just finding a job overseas seemed like a lot of work.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a big step.
Yeah.
Hey, do you mind me asking what kind of work that is?
Oh, yeah, not at all. So I do UX design, user experience design. Yeah.
We're losing a UX designer. No, you have to stay.
Yeah, so that's kind of, I mean, even with that, I kind of stumbled into this career path. And the new jobs in voice UI design.
Voice?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so it seems really interesting and something I want to explore and, you know, maybe pick up new skills.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Wow, like that sounds like that's on some like cutting edge technology vibes. Because I've heard about UX, you know, that's how we use our phones and certain things like that. But in voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Do you already know quite a bit about that?
I've worked a little bit around it. So in Australia, I've resigned from my job, where I was working at was at Telstra. Started off mainly working on web-based, mobile-based stuff, but then in the last 2 years or so, I've been working on UX on their chatbot, so conversation design. And then from that, I did a little project on designing for Google Assistant. So that was voice interactions. It was probably a fairly small project in terms of, you know, how deep you can go with design and voice and all of that, but enough to kind of pique my interest and and sort of give me at least some baseline skills, and that coupled with like 2 years of working in conversation design, I think probably gave me a better advantage in terms of getting this new role as well. Yeah.
Wow. And so this place in Amsterdam, like, what kind of clientele do they deal with?
All right, so it's TomTom. The navigation GPS.
Still around?
That's the thing. It's I think a lot of newer kids they don't know what that is, but then the older generation knows. And I get asked like, oh, they're still around. Yeah, they are. They're doing. I think they're quite focused on traffic information and more like business to business kind of their clients rather than consumer based.
Yeah.
But I think they do a lot of traffic traffic information and tracking, like fleet tracking for larger corporations. Yeah.
Like the big, I could imagine in Europe, like those big trucks.
Yeah.
Like Aldi trucks or things with stock or things like that. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just tell me if you don't want to talk about your job.
No, that's fine.
You know.
That's fine.
But I think this stuff's really interesting.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Like I enjoy what I do, and kind of never really planned a career path. Things kind of just happened. They just happen, and I get little glimpse into sort of where I would like to go next, and I kind of follow the little seed, and then it blossoms into something bigger. Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because I'm really thinking, you know, if we're to pull it back to a sort of dance perspective.
Yeah.
Remember the event that I held at that you helped me out on at Section 8 Burn Circuit.
Yes. Right.
Right. Kind of the future of that is to work a lot more closely with technology. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, you've judged a few events yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it's all very subjective. And I get, and rightfully so. It's an art.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, would there be a way, you know, to like, well, my challenge is there a way to kind of objectify it to a point using technology? And as an Uber driver for 2 years, I was like, oh yeah, you know, Uber, you're supposed to get like 5-star ratings. Yeah. It didn't matter in the end. You know, like, you know, it's just like, there's a lot
work
of 1
is
star.
work, right?
You know, like 1-star drivers all over the place.
Yeah.
And even though my rating was high, but it occurred to me, you know, that that's a very simple way to judge something.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then just the technology that would go into, like, if you were to implement that into a dance event, you know, like instead of, you know, red card, blue card, or judge 3, 2, 1, like it opens it right up.
Yeah.
You don't even need to be there.
Yeah.
It's almost like a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think for me, the more I work in this field, the more I want to simplify things, because I mean, experience design is all about how to make it easiest for the end user, how to make it most enjoyable, more intuitive. And I think we always seem to go in with like a million things, you know, like ideas in our head and be like, I want it to be all of this and plus more. But then as you start thinking about it, like all these bells and whistles, no one's going to care, no one's going to use it. What do they want as the core thing? What is really the essence of it? And I think that comes down to dance events as well. Like, you're creating an experience. What is the core experience? Rather than packing like 6 different categories, can we make it 2 categories but make it really good? You know, get it, start on time, finish on time, make everyone have a good time.
I agree. And you know what, I have to take, you know, hats off to you, but I had a real good vibe. It was an amazing vibe last, 2 Saturdays ago. Was it? No, was it? 2 Saturdays ago. Yeah, you know, like as soon as like the place was starting to fill up. I mean, even when I walked in, it's like just you and D. You know, it's like, oh yeah, these girls, we're all good. You know, and the offering of the chips. You know? You know, simple things like that. To when everyone was dancing, right up to the end. You know, it's really important. I think because, as we kind of said off camera before, you know how things are with b-boys, just doing their own thing all the time. And possibly b-girls too. Hey. There's a lot of it's quite convoluted. The things that happen in the breaking events. So I was thinking, you know, there was a way to have some kind of UX, UI philosophies that could help that scene. You know?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, my I don't know if it's a model or whatever, my belief that everything is experience. We're here purely for an experience of life, of everything.
Yeah, well, that's a dope philosophy. Eh?
Yeah, and then, you know, I design digitally, but then when I go through life, the experience is the most important thing. And when I was getting to like creating these events, and made me really start to observe other events and really think about, I don't know, how to give an experience. But I think that's why you have people working as specialists in these kind of fields, because it's not something that everyone naturally grasp. And then, you know, what people might think is a good event is not necessarily a good experience for the general public. And there's always what's the word? You know, selfishness that comes into creating an event.
Yes.
What do I want to get out of it, rather than what do people actually want?
Yes, it seems to be like the $1 million question for a lot of the arts. You know. Yeah. I really believe in that side of having that balance. You know.
Yeah.
You know, and I think maybe, do you remember that time we were doing an event at the Kqingz in Collingwood?
Yeah.
And it was really dangerous, but we did it anyway. Like, we had this giant fan in this like long alley, like underground basement thingy. And then we had like lights, and we just put cellophane over it, which, you know, gives off bad fumes. You know, and then I can't remember who was DJing down there, but someone was DJing down there.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time I'd seen house, hip hop, popping.
Yeah.
You know, in Melbourne, like in one
space. Yeah.
In one space. And I only did that because I went to LA maybe 5 years before that and saw that.
Yes.
You know. Yeah. And I was like, hey, we need that in Melbourne. Yeah. But it was hard to, like, the only way you could show them was to try and emulate it yourself. Hey.
Yeah, that's just on that too. Same with me. Like the drive behind House of Feels was from traveling and seeing events and seeing the house scene in Europe, in the States, that kind of unlocked, like, I finally realized what house was about especially when I went to Funkbox in New York. Like, just being in that space, I'm like, this is it. This is the feeling that I wish everyone could feel, and it's not something you can explain. So you have to somehow try to create a space that they can feel it for themselves.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Hey, that is exactly it. And I guess I think that's why I wanted to get you in on this podcast, was because I wanted to find out about the certain things like this, you know, because there is something about sharing these stories that perhaps someone might find interesting or useful, you know. Yeah. Plus, who's going to be running House the Fields while you're not here?
So I'm fortunate enough there are people that are keen to keep pushing it forward. So we're talking about potential future events once I get settled in Amsterdam. So we might kick off discussions, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can keep it moving forward.
I hope so. Yeah. Look, I'm just going to throw it out there, and maybe you could work out what's practical and what's not. Yeah. But, you know, I could say you're going to Amsterdam not because you're working, but you're going there to liberate yourself. You know, the legalities there are totally different. But can you imagine figuring out the time difference, whatnot? That, let's say they're doing House of the Fields here in Melbourne, like at Horse Bazaar. But especially with that setup, they've got the screens right around. Yeah. And then on your end, you're doing one as well at the same time. Yeah. And it's being streamed. Yeah. And they're looking into Horse Bazaar somehow, like the way, as if when you're looking at them, it's like they're looking down and you're looking up to them, and you're getting this across the world synced.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
You know, like you're partying at the same time at two different ends of the world.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
You know, I mean, if you don't do it, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on my event, House of them Fields. Not associated with House of the Fields. Just getting it out there, you know?
That would be really cool. I do, like, there's so much potential and so much I want to do and so many ideas people that do bring up. They're all in my little black book. Slowly work towards them.
That's sick. Do you actually have a black book?
I have several.
Right. So like you're constantly jotting things down. Do you journal?
I don't so much journal. I think it's weird. I only journal when I go through tough times.
What?
I don't know why. I think like when things are good, I'm just like relaxed and it doesn't bother me that much. But when things are rough, then it's an outlet and just kind of vent. So I have my angry black book where I rant, and then I have my House of Fields little black book, and several others.
That's cool, man. I used to specifically buy moleskins for that reason, but then it kind of got to the point where there'd be big gaps.
Yes,
writing.
that's what I find as well.
So I kind of just got a scrapbook instead now, or a little. I find a little notebook has been nice.
Yeah.
You know, with the the spiral.
Some spirals,
and just write a date and write whatever I'm writing down.
Yeah.
Just half the time. Well, you should see that iPhone there, like
just
my
notes.
The notes
same.
And to do the reminders.
Yeah.
There's like 168. You know, set them at daily, and so I'll get back to that. You know.
Yeah, I have like a lot of times I just write drafts in my email and keep them there, and then they never have subjects, so they have to go through them one by one and figure out what they are.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Hey, it's one of those things, hey. Yeah. But it definitely helps.
Oh, it definitely does. Like while I'm packing, I've just unpacked a few of those little notebooks, and I'm like, oh, should I keep them? They're kind of a reminder of, you know, progress and growth, but at the same time, I feel like it's a new chapter. I should just let them go and detach.
Yeah, totally. I hear you on that. I've kind of had a similar experience cleaning up my garage. You know, my parents are hoarders.
No, so am I.
Yeah,
so am I.
And you know, it might be on my side of the fence, sort of like this sort of a kind of mentality to hold on to things.
Yeah.
But then I learned this from, I believe it's from Chinese culture, like you know, like the burning of the incense or burning a certain kind of money. And I've seen a few rituals like that. Yeah. It's like, hey, you know, there's a lot of heavy stuff in this book. I should just burn it. Yeah, and just let it go. You know, it's sort of like. I mean, not until after I've used PDF scanner. And just, scanned every page, so I've got a digital copy of it. Nah, I'm joking. But it's really interesting, that whole process. Because people don't really write anymore, do they?
No.
In your workplace, like, did you see people write much?
Even myself, when I do write, my handwriting is so ugly now, you know. I had to make an effort to slow down and actually like write the proper letters.
I hear you. I'm the same. Yeah. Hey, like I have to have, like I write on an angle. Yeah. You know, and I have to like, and if I try to rush it, it's barely legible. You know?
And it's just you just do find it's so much easier to just type everything up.
No, that's exactly it. But then it gets lost in everything. You know, you got your notifications, you got all of this. Yeah. The thought process seems to work, but when it's time to be practical, you just forget about it.
It's not. Yeah, it's not there. It's harder. I find it harder to read off a screen. Like I can't sort of contain my attention span to properly read. Yeah. Whereas if it's on paper, then I'll take my time and I'll read it. Yeah.
I hear you. What about like tablets and styluses? Did you ever use that kind of stuff at work? Like, are there tools that you ever had to use?
Yeah, I don't know. I would still prefer to jot down notes, but then I'm very kind of over the shop with my notes. So if I have some post-it nearby, I'll scribble on there, and then they'll go flying somewhere.
Yeah.
The like having to the discipline of carrying a tablet around. I can't get into the habit of doing that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I've never had one. I thought I would just ask. Hey,
Yeah.
what about with your post-its? Like I was using a lot of post-its at the start of this year. I've also got a whiteboard in my workspace, you know, but the notes on that are over 6 months old. I haven't even erased them, you know.
Yeah.
But the post-its, I had them like, you know, underneath my laptop or on my laptop, and then once they're done, you can just throw
them away. Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the discipline of my work isn't so disciplined yet.
Yeah.
And I need to constantly be doing it.
Yeah. And I think maybe sort of with a more creative mind, you do have the tendency to be more just scattered and over the shop, right?
Yeah. Is that how, you know, I can't tell now because everything's packed
gone.
up, but like in your workspace, let's say your desk or your workbench, like, did you just have things everywhere, or are you a pretty neat person?
I like to be neat, but I find that I start accumulating things, and like I said, I prefer tactile, like paper and pens. So then sometimes I start printing things out just because I want to keep a copy of it, like physically.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, when I'm packing, I still have like pieces of like scribbled paper and drawings and things that I'd had from uni that I'm still holding on to. So I don't know, I think it's organized chaos. I feel like I know there's a place for everything, but there's a lot of things.
Yeah, I hear you. That's probably what we get from our parents, of the whole hoarding
Absolutely.
thing.
But then that drives me a bit crazy because my parents, they do hoard a lot, so there's a constant reminder to myself to not fall into that trap of just hoarding.
Yeah.
So then you have to go through the process of like trying to declutter, and it's a very emotionally draining process.
Oh, tell me about it, man. It's the worst. Why do you think I look like this now? Hey, you know, it's like I'm gutting this place. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I'll keep this.
Yes.
You know, then my sister will come in. It's like, what are you going to do with this?
Yeah.
You're gonna just throw it. It's like, yeah, I will. And then when she walks out, it's like, put it back on the shelf.
It's so true. And I think, like, even though, you know, the whole Marie Kondo phenomenon.
Yes. What's the name of the book again? It's got to do with decluttering.
Yeah. I have it somewhere. I can't even remember.
That's
but
alright. It'll pop up here.
But yeah, I mean, I read the book and I was like, I don't know. I still want to keep things, but then that little sort of, does it spark joy? You know, that is a nice little message, and I do look and I'm like, does it still kind of spark any joy, or what is the emotional attachment, and whether or not it's worth holding on to just because, I don't know, 5 years ago this one little moment happened.
True.
I
think my issue is I might need this later. You know, like it's like, oh, here's an old tape or old. I mean, with retro antique wear, you know, you might need to use it because it contains information. Yeah. But half the time, it's not till a decade or 2 decades later.
I mean, a lot of the times for me, I think, you know, it's served its purpose, and if I haven't looked at it for like 2 years, then will I actually come back and look at it?
True.
Yeah.
This is true. Yeah, it's interesting, hey? There's a whole process to it. I mean, I can understand because in Japan, when I lived in Osaka, the spaces are small.
So you really have to
minimize,
yeah.
You know, be minimal. Like my apartment was this 1.5 times bigger, like lengthways.
Right, yeah.
Like that to that way. And no, I didn't have my own room.
Yeah.
Like it was just all one
Yeah.
living space, and it was pretty big
Yeah.
compared to some of the other shoebox ones I went to.
Yeah.
But I totally understood why.
Yeah.
You
That actually, I was just in Japan a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it baffles me that the living spaces are so tiny, yet everyone seems to be shopping all the time. Like, where do they put their stuff?
You know what? I was weird. I was thinking that just before getting here. Yeah. I was like thinking, yeah, like they buy so much, but then they don't really have big houses. Then they must just get rid of stuff
All the time.
and then buy stuff
Yeah.
again. It's just like they're not really materialistic, but they are.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense that like, oh, you want this now? Let's get this. Boom.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that, and just it's very consumer.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
high consumer
Absolutely,
rate
yeah.
there. Hey, it's a really interesting thing. And what do you think? Like, what do you think it's going to be like for you? Do you know where you're going to live in Amsterdam yet?
Not yet. So I'll get accommodation for the first month through work, and
Nice.
then they'll help me find a place. But yeah, I will have to, I guess, make my choice as to what kind of place I want to get, and I don't really know that much. Yeah, it's quite funny because usually when I take a trip, I like to research the crap out of it. So I have like a spreadsheet and it's like a really detailed plan of all the things I want to see and check out.
Yeah.
But this time I haven't done anything. I kind of just feeling like I just want to go get there and then figure it out.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, in the sense that, yeah, you just kind of just leaving it up to the gods.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then figure it out from there.
Absolutely.
Why do you feel that way this time, if you don't mind me asking? What makes it different now than before?
I mean, I guess, it's a one-way ticket this time round, and I'm not constrained by the time of a holiday. And then also, this whole thing has come around for me. I feel like a weird sign from the universe. I've been feeling very stuck for a while.
Right.
And then my holiday plan for this year was to go to Amsterdam and go see Summer Dance. And as I was planning that trip, this job offer came up in Amsterdam. And when it came up, I was in a tough state. Like I didn't want to go into work. I barely wanted to sort of really get out of the house too much. And then when it came, I'm like, this is it. I need to take it. I'm like, I can't stay here anymore. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
So then, even through the whole interview process, there was this sense of like, this can't be real, because I'm like, the company from Amsterdam talking to me on Skype, like, this can't be real. And then when I went through 2 rounds, and I just was like, go with the flow. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, no big deal. And it just kept happening. And everything, like the sort of packing up the house and everything has been stressful, but in terms of the stuff, like sorting out stuff with Amsterdam side has been happening pretty smoothly. They'll say I have to send this, I send it, and then they tell me what to do next, and I just do it, and I kind of just like following these steps without trying to force it too much.
Yeah, nice.
So I kind of feel like I should keep just riding that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And see how it goes.
Just living it to the universe, hey? That's crazy. Were you headhunted for this job?
Yes, well, sort of. They were recruiting for the role specifically, and they reached out to a girl I used to work with who's located in Sydney. Right. She's a UX designer as well. But she thought I would be better suited for the role, so she passed on my details, and then they contacted me. Yeah.
What are the chances?
Yeah.
Hey.
So it's very very surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, it was all through LinkedIn, and I barely check LinkedIn because you get so much spam on there.
I heard this,
Yeah, so I have a lot of kind of unread messages, and then for some reason that day I thought I'll log in and just see what's there and clear out the messages. And the last message was from the girl in Sydney telling me about this job. Yeah.
So that could have just like disappeared.
That could have just, yeah, that could have just, and a lot of time I do get like messages from people, and I just delete them, really, like not really reading them. So yeah, so I just thought, I know I'll have a read to see what she's contacting me for.
Yeah. It's really interesting because like I've kind of been following sort of social media trends for a little bit now, and LinkedIn is one of like the top ones at the moment.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of activity on there. It's just one, like I have a profile on there in terms of for my professional, I guess, presence, but it's not something that I'm active on at all. My profile's more or less up to date, but I don't, like, I see people actively posting articles, writing articles, communicating, sharing things, but I'm like, I'm not using it that much.
Yeah, Facebook's enough, hey.
Yeah, it's more than enough, yeah.
That's crazy. I feel like, a lot of the people I've been talking to recently, on and off camera, there's this whole vibe, this whole spiritual vibe thing happening. Maybe it's our age or our community or this part of the world. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's this sort of like greater thing that's kind of working,
Yeah.
like, and it's quite overwhelming
Yeah.
when I think about it. But yeah, I'm quite inclined to like think and feel that way.
Yep.
And yeah, just, like, very briefly to touch on, like,
Yeah.
that's what I spend my time doing the past 2 years when I kind of disappeared off the face of the planet, But yeah, there's something mysterious about it, but something so surreal.
Yeah.
Like, it's so strong, this energy, isn't it? Hey,
Yeah.
that you just kind of get dragged along with it, hey?
Yeah, it is. I don't know, you're right, maybe, I don't know what it is, maybe it is age. I think maybe you get to the point where you kind of have enough life experience to maybe stop fighting or stop resisting so much at times and let the flow take you. But I do have this sense that the universe will point me in some way or another. Like, my personal kind of belief that if I work hard, then the right things will come to me at the right time. If I put in the work, then I will see the result of that in some way or form.
I think that's a really nice thing to hear. Hey?
Yeah.
It's very easy when you're not feeling it like it to just fall into a slump.
Absolutely.
You know? A lot of people, weirdly enough, not to discredit or take away that feeling from anyone else or yourself, but there are a lot of people falling in some kind of rut, professionally, artistically, creatively. Yeah. And it's weird because there's a lot happening here.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are telling me how much they love Melbourne, but
But then I guess those, you need those kind of ruts to really to grow and appreciate things more. I think this sort of ease of following the universe has come after feeling like shit throughout different phases in my life. You go through phases, and I'm sure you'll know this, that you just feel like things are not going to get any better. But then with time, slowly, they will ease off and you'll start coming back up again. But then, if you're at a point where you're feeling life is great, that's not going to last long either. Eventually.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the reality of it. And if you accept that, if you accept the impermanence, then I think you start to ride the wave a little bit easier.
I feel you on that. That's a good word, actually, impermanence.
Yeah.
You don't hear that one very often. There's one that's kind of, I've been exercising a little bit, but it's a non-attachment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a tough one. When I first read that one, I was like, I'm pretty attached to everything. I've got a vested interest in a lot of the things that I'm attached to.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and slowly, you realize how much weight you're carrying when, there's these things, like, there's so many different little things like that, from impermanence, the opposite of, I'm not very good with my words sometimes, but impermanence, non-attachment, they're opposites.
Because you practice yoga as well?
I haven't really been much recently.
And meditation? Right, yeah.
But it's really difficult because at the moment I feel like I'm in a work rut. Like I'm a lot more disciplined, and similar to your belief, or I'll use your belief as an example. I've been working hard on the computer, and this has somehow led to podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm quite enjoying it because I realise I have really good conversations with people I know.
Yeah.
But that spiritual side of being in a flow state, physically, spiritually, mentally, hasn't quite been there. When you wake up to your own voice, I gotta send off that invoice, I gotta edit this, and your mind is cluttered.
Yeah. I mean, I like when people kind of create their own work as you're doing that, always, like, I really admire that, because I don't feel like that's something that I would have the discipline. Partly because I am so pedantic that, like, there just seems to be too many boxes I have to tick before I'm like, okay, this is the right way this is it, I have to be doing this, so I probably get stuck just trying to figure out what the right process or where the right starting point is, and just like attachment, getting too attached to getting it right rather than just doing it, which is why I enjoy working in that sort of, office or corporate kind of space where I can go in, I can do the work, but then I can leave and then I pursue things, passion projects and little pieces that I want to do for myself outside of that space. Because I think if I had to curate my own work, it would be all consuming, and I wouldn't see the light of day from that.
True, I hear you. I'm a bit like that too sometimes. It's another level. But on that note though, so then House the Fields is like a passion project.
It is.
And you got mentioned last Friday when I was having a chat with Oliver Lee, when he was breaking down Jay Monto's.
Yeah.
How then you had house sessions going on. What day was?
Fridays.
Fridays. Yeah, that's pretty cool because Friday after work, start to your weekends, but it's still Friday.
Yeah.
Then you can go dance house with people you like dancing house with, being around. How did all of that happen?
Just it's funny because I thought when we were trying to choose a day, was very hesitant on Friday because, I mean, every other day there's already a jam on.
Yeah.
So Friday was the only day left. And I'm like, no one's going to come on Friday. Everyone will be out partying.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, no one has lives on a Friday night. We get a lot of people turning up, which is great.
Yeah.
No,
that's the life.
Yeah.
That's the life.
So I think I spoke about traveling and kind of the inspiration from that initially. I'm like a really late bloomer. Like things just happen so late in life for me. Like with traveling when I was younger, I just never had the urge to like explore and travel. It's only the last maybe five years or so that I really start to make an effort to go somewhere every year to have a decent holiday.
Yeah, good.
So then in 2017, me and Anthea, we went to Europe, mainly for Just Debut in Paris, and then we went around Europe a little bit as well. So that was sort of when I first, before that, I've been to like Asian countries, Japan and China, and sort of got a glimpse into their dance scene, but it was, the Asian dance scene is very sort of training focused, very like discipline focused. And then in Europe, took house classes, went to some parties, and I was just like, wow, people just have more fun here. And went to the after party for Just Debut, and everyone was just, you had a whole club of dancers and everyone's dancing, and there's a respect of the space, and ciphers were kind of small pockets of ciphers. They come organically and they go organically. That kind of, I was like, wow, that just was very eye-opening. And then, so there was inspiration from that trip that felt like Dia and I was talking about, wish we could do something like this in Melbourne.
Yes.
But then in 2018, I went to the States, was at a house festival in Oakland. It was like just a car park with DJ playing, people dancing. You had like old ladies fully with like knee pads on, strapped in, like getting down. It was really cool. There's like this old Chinese guy in like a Tai Chi outfit, like doing Tai Chi to house music. It was just like, all walks of life. I was like, this is amazing. And then in New York again, went to a few parties. The highlight was definitely Funkbox. And yeah, that was just being in Funkbox, being around the people. It was, no one was like, hey, I'm a dancer. Like, even when I speak to someone, I was like, oh, you dance? They're like, no, I don't dance. But then they're on the floor and they're just getting down. And I'm like, what is this? Yeah. And everyone was so welcoming. I was like so far away from home in this club with random people, and everyone was pulling you in, dancing with you, and there'll be, hustle pocket that breaks out, house pocket, floor, like random floor move, kind of explorational kind of pockets just happening all over the club. And it was just like, so my friend Simon and I went, and we had, it was after a week of touristy stuff. We were tired, we didn't want to go, and we were like, okay, we'll go. We stay for an hour and then we'll come home. We stayed till the club closed and last people on the dance floor. So, and I think that was sort of finally understood when people talk about, the house being a spiritual thing, that sense of freedom, or the energy that in that space. I felt all of that and it made sense. But then when you come back, you're like, this is what it all means, guys. You can't explain it.
You can't.
Yeah. Wow. So then that was probably the biggest push. That was like, I really felt in love with this dance, and I feel like I feel very passionate about this dance and the culture that it grew from and where it belongs, that I would like to, cultivate even a small part of that in this community here. It's fun.
Definitely done that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because I have been dancing house for a long time, and I go to parties and I take a lot of classes, but it never kind of clicked for me. Like when I started house, I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't like the music. It's so fast. I'm tired. My feet hurt. Like, I don't know what. To be honest, I started because I go to the studios and it'll be like Nish or Dello teaching. It'll be a hip hop class, and I want to take the hip hop class, and then there'll be a house class, and I'm like, well, I came all the way. I might as well stay for this class just to get it worthwhile, like make it worthwhile for me to come.
Yeah.
So that's why I started taking the house classes.
Right.
Yeah, and then
So again, sort of like a bit of a pattern, hey.
Yeah.
Just by chance.
Do it because a lot of Jigsaw and Jamartin, like everyone sort of was getting into house and not wanting to be left out. Like, I'll do some house.
Yeah.
It just for many years it never clicked. Even when you go out and freestyle, I'm like, it feels weird. Something doesn't feel quite right. But then at the party, like, in those clubs, I'm like, this is it. I feel it. I feel the music just moving me rather than me trying to figure out what the music is doing. So I think those two trips really made me fall in love with the dance. So the jams came about just, I personally contacted a few kind of active house dancers we had in Melbourne. I'm like, guys, I want to start a jam. Will you come? If you come, then we can get more people to come. So slowly we started, and it was just like word of mouth, a lot of, telling people, please come, please come, please come. It was small at the start, obviously. We maybe had like 4 or 5 people. That was an average amount. I remember the first time it got to about 10, 12 people, like posted on Instagram of like, oh my God, it's so big. Yeah. We had to put 2 ciphers because, there were so many people. Yeah.
Yo, that's definitely an accolade.
Yeah.
Hey, from 5 to 12.
Yeah.
No, for real, I'm not joking.
I know. So that's how the jams came about, and everyone's like, we mentioned Ollie, like the Jam on Toast guys have always been very supportive, in terms of just helping every other pockets of the dance community grow as well. And House of Feels, I was just like, I just wanted to have one event really. And spoke to Chris, because Chris NG, who's very, very supportive of the dancing as well. He's always trying to create events where we can have more of a crossover between the house parties and then the dancer side. And I always feel it's a real shame that not more of the dancers actually go to his parties, because they're always such a good time, So I guess it was out of like wanting to expose the dancers to the party environment, plus having a dedicated curated dance experience in that environment. So we started that at the start of last year. The first event was at what's it called, Third Day, out in Richmond, that big warehouse space. So Chris was running a party there, so then we had an earlier time slot. We ran an exhibition battle. It was like I contacted everyone that I wanted to get involved, and I wanted to. The idea came from Babson from Monteposse. He runs an event called All for House, and they have these exhibition battles where also like mixed styles of teams will come and battle to house music. And when we were in Paris, we saw one of these events, and that was like so amazing. The energy was like, you know, you can feel the fire on the dance floor. Yeah, so I that was the inspiration. So I contacted a lot of the prominent dancers from the different genres, and I thought, I mean, it was a lot to organize, but surprisingly, everyone, like most of the people, unless they were busy, like most people said yes straight away.
Amazing.
I was like blown away by how interested people, like, they were, you know, for no pay, just come and battle, but you don't win anything.
Yeah.
But they all said yes. We ended up having 3 crews with 6 people in each crew, and all styles. We had like b-boys, b-girls, crumpers, whackers, lockers, poppers, house dancers, hip-hop dancers, like a whole lot. Yeah. And then and at the same time, just before we were starting, I had to go away on holiday. So like Dee had to manage things here, and then I was on a cruise with no signal. So like when I could get Wi-Fi, I'm like, how's everything going? Let's do this. Yeah, it was lots of just fitting the pieces into the jigsaw. But yeah, it all happened, and it was a really, really good day. And then
there's footage of that up, isn't
there?
Yeah,
there's footage of like the whole battle. It was I still watch back and I'm like, oh, it's a really good battle.
Yes,
yeah.
Which one do you think is one to watch? If you had to pick one.
Oh, I can't. They're all really good.
Yeah, right.
And at the same time, Brooklyn Terry was in town as well, so he ended up being an MC for the whole all the battles. So I'm like, oh, what a big gun to have for our first event.
Brooklyn Terry is an amazing dude. Wow. Yeah, that's a blessing, hey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. So then it kind of just rolled from there. The second one was a showcase party. That was at Horse Bazaar, and that came about because like there's a lot of, I mean, we have a good scene, but other than battles, there's not much opportunities for them to actually show themselves, like perform. So yeah, I just wanted to invite these styles to come along and do a piece. They can do whatever they want, if they want to freestyle, if they want to choreograph something. But you know, like in Japan in particular, there's so many showcase events all the time, and a lot of the dancers in our scene are from like Asian countries where they probably are good at putting together a show but never have the opportunity. And here, you know, all the choreo crews have the opportunity to go compete in these big stages, putting together a show. I just thought it was a shame not to have the same opportunity for the street styles.
True.
Yeah, so that was our second party.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna go through everything.
Okay.
And then the third one was when Capella was in town.
Oh,
and
yes, I heard about this.
and he DJs, and I was like, this is perfect opportunity. Capella DJs, he's here, why not have a party? So Capella taught a workshop at O2, and then it was kind of very last minute trying to get a venue, get everything. Jay Jamero was running the Friday night at Horse Bazaar.
That's right.
Back in the day, well, not even back in the day, last year.
Last year,
yeah.
Feels like back in the day, doesn't it? Hey.
Yeah, so then he was, like, he was really good with giving us a time slot. So they still had DJs in the first half, and then Capella played later on into the evening, and that was our third kind of party.
Nice.
And throughout, I guess, those, I was trying to figure out the structure of what I want House of Feels to be. I wanted to be party focused. I wanted to get people in and just share a space and share good times and dance to house music. So so the thing is that it will always be house music, but then it will be anyone coming together to house music. So then at the same time, but because we are part of the street dance community and we're, I guess, trying to give back to the street dance community, there's always that element I feel that we need to have some kind of familiar dance component as part of the event, rather than this is just another night with DJs, because you do have a lot of that in Melbourne. So it's just getting that balance of having the little street dance part plus the bigger just party part. So then this year again, similar format. We ran 3 events: start of year, mid-year, and kind of later on in the year. The first one was an open battle, so we had specific house 1v1, and then Old Styles 1v1 to house music. So again, all the battles were to house music, and I think this was like the first time we've had a house battle for a while. The last time, probably when Angie was running her events, I can't remember back how long ago was that. I can't remember were there battles. I think there might have been battles.
It was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. And then before that would be like MMA days. Maybe we had house battles. I don't even remember.
Maybe just a little house.
Maybe, So I mean, so I don't really remember, significant house events or battles. So it was kind of very nervous that, how many people would sign up. And then...
It was full, right?
It was full. We had a really good turnout. So we had that at White Hart. And
that's the one.
That's the one,
Was that footage that was playing?
That was a mix of all the events that we've had.
Nice.
So there was a lot of old footage. So that was an amazing night, day/night. So we had the battles, and again collaborated with Chris, and then we had the party, and everyone kicked on, and it was really, really good day. And then sort of similar format, mid-year we had another showcase event, but this time I specifically made the decision to not actually have any street style showcases. So I reached out to broader, we had contemporary, we had tap, we had a hustle kind of like jam session. I'm blanking, we had Afro dance, and I was trying to get like Lindy Hop jazz dancers and capoeira people, but everyone was very busy. But so the idea was just to showcase more to what we're comfortable with in our little pocket, and to connect in a broader sense, dance as a whole, movement as a whole. That went down really well, like for people, especially the younger generation, to see, like tap dancers getting down to house music. Like it's really amazing.
Wow.
And then the last one we just had, you said 2 weeks ago, was just a party. So like just wanted to make it a party, because at the end of the day, it is what it's all about.
I gotta commend you, hey, because that's hearing it all. I really wish I'd gone to. I was aware of the events, but I was never able to get myself out there. But it really seems like not comparatively, but like similarly. Like I didn't think it was what I was doing. I'm not sure if it was for you, like if it was a conscious effort. But it sounds like you really brought a lot of different people together.
So I think, that was always the idea, right? To have that, the essence of the house clubs back in the days were this safe space where any culture, any gender, any style, any sexual orientation, everyone can go and just dance. And I think that for me is a very, very beautiful thing to have a culture grow around. So that is, I hope that was what we're providing as well. And
I think it was,
yeah,
from what I saw.
Yeah. And it definitely took work, like the first one where I had to personally invite and make sure I invited the big guns to bring the people, right?
That's how it works, yeah.
And to the point where now I felt that we have a strong presence, a strong brand, and word of mouth that people know that it's going to be a good party. I mean, like the last one, I was still, for a series of we had some clashes with other events I was on, so I was still up to the day was like very nervous that will people turn up, but I was just like so happy that we have established ourselves enough that people do want to come, even though there's no battle, there's no pride, there's nothing other than the fact just come and hang out.
Hey, and congratulations for another successful event.
Thank you.
And I think that you're 100% spot on. Like, because I wasn't sure what I was gonna come to see. You play at, and then, I was thinking, what am I gonna play? This and that. But then just to sort of observe during my set and after, and the vibes, and like I knew a few of the people that were there, and there were a lot of new faces I've never seen before. I was like, yo, Miaka and her team have done so well to build that rapport, with a community.
Yeah.
That's now like your community, like it's a House of the Fields community.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I guess in that sense that I've had conversations with people that are of the same vintage as ourselves.
I like how you phrase that, yes.
That, like, how do we just connect the community more? There's still people that's been around for a while, and then there's so many fresh faces, and when a lot of the time the only kind of dance events are battle, like I think the older generation, that like a lot of us are not in the battle scene anymore, and you want to go support, but then you don't want to spend like 6 hours standing around. So, and I'm trying to be supportive and still answer things, and I'm like, I know I'm not gonna make it that far because that's not my mentality. I don't have a battle mentality. And then what? Then jams, but then at the same time, it's a not an environment that you kind of just let loose in. So then
it's weird that, isn't it? Not to throw shade on the jams.
No, I mean the jams are great. Like we run the house ones. Every style now has their own little jam, and it's great ground to facilitate growth. But it is very much it's a focused environment that you come and do the work, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and whereas now, hopefully through these parties, we can bring back actual human connection.
Yeah, word. No, that's dope. It's been a question on my mind for a while. That how do you get or communicate that energy you felt that you said you're seeing overseas here, and it has happened around us, hasn't it? Like in certain groups, certain combinations of people, where you just feel that similar energy. But in a general sense, it's almost like unless you've seen it or felt it before, it's very hard to.
It's like I don't even have the words to describe other than like it was amazing. But then what does that mean? And it's always like action speaks louder than words. Like just let them feel it for themselves, and they can take what they want from it themselves.
That's exactly
And which is kind of why even with these events, we put it on, you come, we don't really sort of put a spotlight on and be like, this is where it comes from, and there's the culture. So it's like, there's, I do want to tell them, like, there's all this stuff I do want to tell, but at the same time, if they're not interested, there's, you can't force it down their throat,
exactly.
Right? You kind of, you wrap it in a sugar pill and let them kind of gently taste it for themselves. Maybe it'll work better.
I like that. I think I like that style.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a good style. But at the same time, though, right? Like, you've been, how, if you don't mind me asking, how long you've been dancing for, roughly? Well, at least in the Melbourne scene.
Oh,
10
long
years
time,
plus.
10 years plus.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's like just we reached 20 years plus. Like 98, I was 14, and that was a different time.
Yeah.
It just seems like some of this information is not getting out
Yes.
the way that perhaps everyone knows about Capella or someone from overseas, and with all due respect, they're very well known.
Yeah.
But a place like Australia that kind of moves a bit slower than everywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good to have. I guess it's just how do you deliver it? How do you deliver it? Is it pill, or do you shove it down their throat, or it's so hard. I think we're still trying to figure that one out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just because PJ is working on I think a documentary as well. He's putting together interviews with people. So I had a conversation with him, and that was something that was brought up as well, in terms of I think it was just talking about what I thought was lacking in the scene, and my view is that there is such a big disconnect between the generations. There's a lack of history, knowledge of history, knowledge of culture, and lack of respect as well for the mature generation.
Yes.
In Asian dance cultures, there's very much a hierarchy, and you listen to your teachers, and you follow directions. And then even in the States and in Europe, there are people in their well into their 40s, 50s, still very active and get respected. Their words mean something.
Yes.
Whereas here, that's not the case. And for someone like yourself, I feel that you're like a gold mine of information and knowledge and just resource. But then just bridging the gap of what you have and passing it on, and then having the kids want to take it on board as well. It's that aspect of not wanting to actually seek out the information, or not putting in the time to learn the history. It's a real shame. Like, if you love the dance enough, then for me, I would want to dig deeper and know more and talk to people and find out things. Yeah.
It's a really good point. Hey, it's come up actually quite a bit this year. I once had a shirt given to me, and on it said, "Nothing seek, nothing find."
Yeah.
And that general inquiry into things it seems a bit non-existent for a new generation, young and old. I feel. Yeah. And I think perhaps there's also this saying, I think comes from the Bible or something. So you can't be a prophet in your own hometown, which can be debated. But I think, I think this is again another reason why we should be having more conversations like this. And I think there's a lot that the new generation can learn from our generation.
Yeah.
you know, from the vintage quality. Because everyone's going vintage anyway.
Yeah,
hey?
exactly.
Yeah, everyone's going retro.
That's where the hipsters are all at, right?
Yeah, I'm just like, hang on a second, wait, those are the crappy fillers. Those are the crappy issues, and you're bringing them back.
No,
okay,
yeah.
all right, cool. Well, yeah, that's what you think's cool. That's cool, but my day, back in my time. Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
yeah. I think it's possible, but I think we're lacking enough driven people to make it happen. Maybe. Because like especially the last few years, you see the whacking scene become very strong, the crumb scene become very strong. I'm helping to, I guess, pull together more of a house community as well. And then there's little pockets, but the pockets, we're all very selfish to our own styles, right? So we put our energy into our styles, but then when you need the people who are also as passionate about the bigger picture to then make that all happen.
To bring that,
But it's a lot of work, when you put so much time into this one style, the idea of like putting time into all of this is a lot of work.
It is. You're right. And I'm glad you're mentioning that, because I don't think a lot of people realise how much work it involves. To think about, like, you doing the sessions on the Fridays and how organic the whole thing was. It's really nice to hear, but that was a lot of work. To sort of talk about sort of my experience in that. It's kind of why I stepped back from the whole scene, breaking scene. I mean, when you know how it is, right? Especially with work, it's like when you operate at a certain standard, it's hard to do things below that. Not in terms of quality, but that I just didn't know how to come back in. You know what I mean? And that concerted effort that you really feel like everyone here is about this. When that's not around, it's quite disencouraging. Hey?
It is, and at the same time, like, I feel like even though there are these styles have strong pockets, it probably is one or two individuals holding it together by a piece of string, really. If they kind of relax and loosen that string, then it might all just fall apart.
This is the truth. I've been speaking to a few people about that too. It's just the culture here, isn't it? Hey, unfortunately, it's a bit fickle.
It is, and very young, like in terms of age demographic. I think. I mean, this is something that I sort of been thinking about. Like our scene is made up predominantly by international travellers, international students. There's a very high turnover of the faces that are in the scene. So it seems it's very hard for it to mature because people just keep coming and going. And then, if you want to build a house scene, but then there's only been like a couple of people that's been around for more than like 2 years or something. It's very hard. It's like, how do the new people collect together enough resources or even power to create something? And then why would they give respect to someone who's only been around for 6 months?
This is true.
Right?
This is really interesting. We've actually like opened up a whole different can of worms in terms of like, community and cultural and community development. Which is it's an industry here, right? It's a sector here in Australia. That's a very good point. I actually have been speaking to a few people and saying, hey, you know, keep up what you're doing. I know you're only here temporarily,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But this is, you know, you guys are creating history here, you know. And it might just be that, yeah, maybe for this point in time, you know, need to remind everyone Miaka's going, you know. It's like, yeah, we got to document these things because maybe the point will come around again, full circle. And it's like, right, this is what happened in the past decade. Maybe it's time to move forward. You know?
Yeah.
Because my biggest argument is we just don't have the numbers.
True.
You know, like,
True.
unless they're all specifically there and tethered to that event or function or movement culturally.
Yeah.
You know, like like let's say 15 years ago, 2004, 2005, you go to an African night and it's like, oh, what's going on here? Like the whole house moved, you know? And I feel like that's probably what you felt when you were in Oakland and in New York, you know?
Yeah.
And I felt that too when I was in New York.
Yeah.
But when I was in Japan or Korea, it was a bit more like, more disciplined, more straight. Still good, but a different thing, you know? But yeah, here it has happened, but it would be with everyone we know.
Yeah.
But not much more
Not
beyond
much,
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good point. Like this little comfortable bubble that is a street dance scene, whereas I guess we're comfortable, and then maybe we don't want to reach out beyond that, or we're scared of reaching on beyond that. You know, sometimes you see contemporary people pass through, but then you know, you look at like jazz and that kind of branch where so much of our steps and moves and our dance comes from, but no one seemed to really explore that. And even I think before recording we're talking about partner dancing. You know, there's like in New York and in other places where salsa and that kind of partner dance is pretty much tied in with the street dance culture, but here again it's very separated. There's just so much. If we start looking at social dancing or even just movement rather beyond, you know, style specific dancing, then we can expand and grow so much more.
That is exactly it. That's exactly it. Before we go down that path, I need to go to the toilet.
Sure. Actually, good idea. We should.
Let's have a toilet break.
Let's have a toilet break.
Oh gosh. Yo, that's crazy. I'm glad you were segueing in. If it's too long, you just let me know. That was already. Well, the timing was crazy. I looked at the clock when it was 1 hour 17:17. Some very auspicious numbers. I'll just quickly pause this. Did you need to go to the toilet?
Yeah, you can go first. I'll go.
Okay.